you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego. And in today's Megaphone episode, we will be shouting out an article from the team over at Precision Nutrition. This was a republished article by the American Council on Exercise, which I have my personal training cert through ACE. And in my opinion, their cert is one of the top accredited and accepted ones. So if you're interested in becoming a personal trainer, I definitely recommend checking out ACE. And if you're interested in a very high quality nutrition certification, you should definitely check out the Precision Nutrition course. This article that I wanted to share from Precision Nutrition started with a quote. And the quote was, "You're either with me or you're against me." And that kind of binary mindset fuels plenty of heated debates, especially right now, especially when it comes to one topic in particular. No, we're not going to talk politics today. We're talking calories in versus calories out, or CICO. So what is it? Calories in versus calories out? Or is it hormones? Well, the debate is finally over, and here's who won. Calories in, calories out is an easy way of saying that when you take in more energy than you burn, you're going to gain weight. When you take in less energy than you burn, you're going to lose weight. Calories in, calories out. This is a fundamental concept in body weight regulation and about as close to the scientific fact as we can get. Then why is calories in, calories out such a source of so much disagreement? It's all about the extremes, right? At one end of the debate, there's a group who believes that, well, calories in, calories out is so straightforward. If you aren't losing weight, the reason is it's simple. You're either eating too many calories or you're not moving enough, or both. So just eat less and move more. And then at the other end of the spectrum, the other group who believes that calories in, calories out is broken or even a complete myth. These critics say it doesn't account for hormone imbalances, insulin resistance, polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, and other health problems that may affect your metabolism. Some also claim that certain diets and foods provide a metabolic advantage. If you prioritize those foods, you will have better metabolic response. And this is going to help people lose weight without worrying about that calories in, calories out equation. Now, here's the thing. Neither viewpoint is completely wrong, but neither one is completely right either. And this is why there's such a disagreement. Life is funny like that, right? Black or white thinking, red or blue thinking, binary wrong or right thinking. It's almost never the case. And I use the word never, the absolute word never, very intentionally here. Billions of shades of gray is what we're looking at. But no one wants to hear all of that nuance. They want answers. You want answers. They want it right now. Just tell me what to do so I don't have to think. So whether you're listening to this right now and you're a health and exercise professional tasked with helping clients manage their weight, or you're just someone that's trying to learn how to do this for themselves, adopting an extreme position on this topic is going to be problematic. It really prevents you from seeing the bigger picture. And this article that the Precision Nutrition just put out through ACE, it adds some nuance and some really good information to the debate. So I'll start by clearing up some misconceptions about calories in, calories out, and then we'll explore several real-world examples showing how extreme views can really hold people back. So let's rethink common misconceptions. Much of the calories in, calories out debate, as with many other debates, stems from misconceptions, oversimplifications, and a failure by both sides to find a shared understanding of the concepts that they both agree on. So let's just get everyone on the same page here. Calories in, calories out goes beyond just food and exercise. It's not just eat less, move more. There's really an important distinction to be made between calories in, calories out, and eat less, move more. But some tend to really conflate the two. Eat less, move more only considers the calories that you consume, that you eat, and the calories that you burn through exercise and daily movement. But calories in, calories out is really an informal way of expressing the energy balance equation, which is so much more involved. If you want to even just see a taste of what I'm talking about, how complex this issue is, go ahead and right now on your phone, Google the human metabolism diagram. Just Google the human metabolism diagram and get back to me with what you learn after looking at some of those photos. The energy balance equation, and therefore calories in, calories out, includes all of the complex inner workings of the body, as well as the external factors that ultimately impact calories in and calories out. Imperative to this, and often overlooked in this situation, is your brain. It's constantly monitoring and controlling calories in, calories out. Think of it as mission control center. It's sending and receiving messages that involve your gut, your hormones, your organs, muscles, your bones, fat cells, any kind of external stimuli, so many things to help balance energy in and energy out. It's a complicated and beautiful system that we really don't know everything about yet. But if you look at the energy balance equation itself, it really looks simple. Energy in minus energy out equals changes in body stores. Energy in, energy out, the difference between the two will result in the changes in body stores. That's that simple equation that is actually so much more complex. And when we say body stores, this refers to all the tissues, all of them available for breakdown, such as fat, muscle, organ, and bone. We didn't use the phrase change in body weight here because we want to exclude both water weight, which can change the body's weight independent of energy balance. And in other words, water is just a confusing, confounding variable that tricks a lot of people into thinking that the energy balance is broken when it really isn't. So if you ever see super short-term shifts in your weight, you can almost be sure that it's water and cellular fluid fluctuation. It takes a really long time to build or even to break down actual tissue. And I say this with a tear in my eye because I've been trying to do this, gaining muscle tissue for all of my life, and it is hard. With the equation energy in and energy out, this isn't just calories from food and exercise. All kinds of factors influence your energy in and energy out. So let's look at some of these things on the energy balance equation. Factors that influence your energy in. Your appetite. Your appetite is influenced by hormones that regulate appetite and satiety, and that can have an effect on your energy in. Also, your food consumed. Your food consumed can be influenced by the availability, the palatability, how good it tastes, the energy density of that food, your sleep quality as well, any kind of education or beliefs that you have on this food that you're eating, socioeconomic status, and culture all have an impact on what food you as a human consume. That's a lot of stuff just for one little category. Other things that influence energy in, the calories that you actually absorb, right? So the food that you put in your mouth, 100% of that does not get consumed. There is a percentage that passes through you that doesn't get metabolized. Your calories absorbed can be influenced by your macronutrient intake, your carbs, proteins, fats. The food prep that you do, the way that you cook it has an effect on how you absorb it. The age of the food, your age, your personal microbiome, your health status, and your energy status. All of these things affect your energy in when it comes to calories absorbed. Also, psychological factors, things that like being influenced by stress, high stress levels, low stress levels, these will have an impact on how you metabolize your energy in. Your mindset, this is so crazy to think about. Your mindset on how you feel if you keep telling yourself, oh, this food is bad for me. I shouldn't be eating this food. I'm being so bad. I'm falling off. These type of things have an impact. Your thoughts create chemicals and electrical signals that go throughout your body and have real physical change. Your self-esteem, we said sleep quality already, your perceived control of your ability to eat or your ability to not eat, your control has a factor. All of these things can influence your energy in. And that's just a small list. Factors that influence your energy out. Energy burned at rest. So your body size, your hormonal status, lots of testosterone, low testosterone, thyroid, high thyroid, low thyroid, your dieting history, someone that's yo-yo dieted all their lives, or someone that's just been smooth through their entire lifetime with their diet. Genetic factors definitely have an impact. Your health status, current health status, how healthy are you right now? Your sleep quality affects your energy out just like your energy in. Sleep is so important. Your age, of course, age is going to be a factor. Other things that influence your energy out, energy burned through your exercise, right? This is the one that we mainly think about. Your exercise ability, the duration of your exercise, how frequently you exercise, what is the type of exercise, and in what environment do you exercise? All of those things affect how many calories you're expending energy out with exercise, as well as hormonal status and sleep quality. Other things like energy burned by non-exercise activity is really important. This is what we talk about all the time, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or just your non-exercise activity. This can be influenced by your health status, your energy status, your stress levels, hormonal status, even like your occupation, right? If you're someone that's on your feet all day, a mailman, a mover, or if you have a desk job. Also, your leisurely activities. What do you do when you're not working, when you're moving around, just getting from to and from? How do you do that? How do you travel? And of course, genetic factors all influence your energy out. And then there's another factor, energy burned by metabolizing your food, right? We've talked about this as well. Your protein is going to take more calories to break down and metabolize and use than something, let's say, like a simple carbohydrate, sugar, or soda. Something with fiber is going to be harder to process than a soft drink. So when you view calories in, calories out through this lens, by zooming out for a wider perspective, you can see that boiling it down to eat less, move more is significant oversimplification and probably not very helpful. Now, I've had a lot of clients come to me asking about calorie calculators, like online calorie calculators, but calorie calculators and calories in, calories out, that strategy, they aren't the same. Many people use calorie calculators to estimate their energy needs and to approximate how many calories they've eaten. But these tools don't always work. As a result, people start to question whether calories in, calories out is broken because the calories that the calorie calculator said, they're not working. But the key words here are they estimate and they approximate, because calorie calculators aren't necessarily super accurate. They're just a tool. For starters, they provide an output based on averages, right? And that can be as much as 20 to 30% off in normal, young, healthy people. They may vary even more in older demographics or clinical or individuals with obesity, those type of situations. They could be even further off than 20 to 30%. And that's just on the energy out side. That's just one side of the equation. So there's so many variables. The number of calories that you eat or your energy in is also going to be just an estimate. For example, the FDA, it allows inaccuracies of up to 20% on the back of your food labels. And research shows that restaurant nutrition information, when they tell you how much calories are in a food at your favorite restaurant, they can be off by as much as 100 to 300 calories per food item. 100 to 300 calories per food item, which can add up to a lot depending on how much you're eating. What's more, even if you were able to accurately weigh and measure every single morsel that you eat, you still wouldn't have an exact calories in number because there are the other confounding factors that we can talk about, like not being able to absorb all the calories. So even if you weigh everything, who knows what you're actually absorbing? Absorption rates, they vary across so many different food types and so many different people. We all absorb calories uniquely based on our individual gut bacteria as well, our microbiome. So that's a factor that we have not yet been able to have dialed in order for us to be able to calculate that. And then cooking and blending or chopping your food, this generally makes calories available for absorption that weren't normally available and that maybe the food label didn't account for. So if you blend something or chop something or grind something that doesn't normally do that, that could have an effect on how you absorb it and what kind of calories you're intaking. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that calories in, calories out doesn't work. It only means that the tools we use to estimate your calories in and your calories out, those tools are limited, and you have to have an understanding and awareness of that. To be crystal clear, calorie calculators can still be very helpful. I've had a lot of people find a lot of success by starting out with a calorie calculator, but it's important to be aware of their limitations. If you're going to use one, do so as a rough starting point and not a definitive answer. If it's not working, then obviously something's off. It's the same thing that we talk about when we talk about our activity trackers, our Fitbits, our Oura rings, our iWatches, any kind of body fat measuring tools as well, the InBody scan, the dunk tanks, the skin calipers, or the DEXA scans. These are all just tools that give us data points. And these data points can help you take you in the right direction. If you can be consistent with your measurements, whether you're using the same activity tracker for the same time, and you get a good average, you wear it over a certain period where you can get a good average, and then you can just see the days where you're lower or higher than your average. Or if you're talking about body fat tests, I do a InBody scan once a week, which is way more than necessary. I just have access to it, so I'm able to. Once every 4 weeks is usually super good for most people. But I scan every week the same way, on the same machine, at the same time, on the same day, and in the same fasted state every single time. So do I care if the number that it gives me, my body fat percentage, do I care that that number is 100% accurate? I don't care, not a chance, because all I want to see is if I can control as many variables as possible and I can see the trend or the change, is that going in the direction that I want it to? If not, I can make adjustments. And every time I see what those adjustments do to my data, I can make changes to get closer to my goal. Tracking calories is the same way. They're just data points. It's not an end-all, be-all strategy. But better yet, calories in, calories out doesn't have to require even counting calories. At Precision Nutrition, sometimes they use calorie counting to help clients improve their food intake, but other times they just use hand portions. So here in the palm of your hand, eat this much meat, or here with this closed fist, you want that much vegetables. And other times they use more intuitive approaches. So for example, let's say a client wants to lose weight, but they're not seeing the results that they want. If they're counting calories or if they're using hand portions, we might use those numbers as a reference to further reduce the amount of food that they're eating or increase, depending on where they're at. But also, what might encourage them to use other techniques, such as eating slowly. So this is something that has nothing to do with counting calories. Eat slowly, chew your food, or eat until you're 80% full. These are all things that people can do that don't involve counting calories, but are a little bit more of an intuitive feeling and style approach. In every case, whether we're talking numbers or intuitive or whatever, we're manipulating energy in, sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly. So make no mistake, even when we're not counting calories, calories in, calories out, it still applies. It might sound simple, but it's really not. There's no getting around it. If you or if a client of yours, if they're not losing weight, you either need to decrease your energy in or increase your energy out. This is a law, the law of thermodynamics, the law of energy and how it cannot be created or destroyed. But as you've already seen, that may involve far more than just pushing your plate away from you or spending more time at the gym. For instance, it might require you to do one of these following things on the list, if not multiple things on the following list. It may require you to get more high quality sleep to better regulate hunger hormones, improve your recovery and increase your metabolic output. It may require you to try stress resilience, techniques like meditation, deep breathing, or spending time in nature. It might require you to increase your daily non-exercise movement, taking the stairs, parking in the furthest parking spot, going up and down stairs every hour instead of sitting at your desk for a prolonged period of time. It might require you to trade some of your high-intensity exercise, your group fitness classes, for lower intensity activities to aid in recovery and reduce systematic stress. This is for all you high performers, you go cortisol junkies, the ones that think that doing jumping jacks during rest periods is a good idea. It might require you to improve the quality of what you're eating, improve the quality of what you're eating, as opposed to just reducing the entire quantity. This can allow you to eat more food, but with fewer total calories. And there's a key there. More food, fewer calories. If your goal is weight loss, that's super important. It might require you to tinker with the macronutrient makeup of what you eat. For example, what we were talking about, eating more protein or fiber instead of eating carbs, or increasing your carbs and lowering your fats depending on your physical activity, or you could vice versa. Carbs are not bad. Fats are not bad. Protein is not bad. So cutting a whole macronutrient out, in my opinion, is not the way to go. You could do any possible combination of messing around with your carbs, fats, proteins, your alcohol, and your water, other macronutrients. You're an individual and you have to learn what works best for you. You might also try experimenting with the frequency and timing of your meals or your snacks. This is based on personal preferences, appetite cues, and your daily schedule, right? You can change how often you eat, the timing of when you eat, intermittent fasting, create a eating window. It might also require you to consider taking temporary tracking periods of your food intake. So take a couple of weeks to track very hardcore. You could do this, of course, with MyFitnessPal. You could do this via hand portions. You could weigh and measure your food to ensure that you're eating what you think you're eating as closely and as reasonably as possible. A lot of times people miscalculate what they're actually eating. It might require you to evaluate and correct nutritional deficiencies for more energy during workouts. And that could be like the types of foods you're eating just are not fueling for your activity. And then, of course, it might require you to consult with your physician or a specialist, because if consistent lifestyle changes are not moving the needle, then there might be something deeper going on there. Sometimes the solutions are obvious. A lot of the times they're not. But with calories in, calories out, the answers are there. If you just keep your mind open and you examine the factors that you can examine. Imagine yourself as a calorie conductor who oversees and fine-tunes how many actions it takes to create metabolic harmony. You're looking for anything that could be out of sync. And this takes a lot of practice and a lot of awareness. So to help, here are 5 common energy balance dilemmas. 5 common energy balance dilemmas. And in each case, it might be tempting to assume that calories in, calories out doesn't work, doesn't apply. But if we look a little deeper, and you'll probably see that the principles of calories in, calories out are always present. So dilemma number 1, I've been eating the same way forever, but just recently I started gaining weight. I've been eating the same thing forever, but just recently I started gaining weight. Can you guess what happened in this situation? Well, more than likely, energy in or energy out actually did change, but in a way that probably felt out of your control or unnoticeable. So you've been eating the same way forever. More than likely, something did change with your energy out. The culprit could be slight increases in food intake due to changes in your mood, your hunger, or your stress. If any of those toggles are out of whack, your hunger, your mood, your energy, or cravings, this could start to have the body create slight increases in food intake without you even noticing. Another culprit could be an increase in the amount of energy absorbed. This is caused by maybe a new medication that you're taking, or an unknown medical condition, or a history of chronic dieting that's finally catching up to you. You might be now absorbing more calories than before for whatever reason. Another culprit could be physiological changes that resulted in fewer calories being burned during your exercise or at rest. So maybe you feel like you're working just as hard as you have been in the past, but it's harder due to having lost muscle or strength. So your perceived effort is the same, but your actual work output is lower because you don't have that muscle mass or that strength that you had in the past. That's just one of tons of examples that it could be when it comes to your physiological changes in the body. Another culprit could be the onset of chronic pain, right? We all feel those chronic pains start to creep up as we get older, provoking a dramatic decrease in your non-exercise activity, your NEAT. And for the vast majority of my clients, NEAT is one of the biggest answers for their physical health issues. If they just worked on their NEAT and increasing their non-exercise activity, or at least worked on their lack thereof, trying not to be as sedentary, this is a huge answer. But pain is a huge contributor to why we start to move less, even if we don't really realize it or notice it. This is where wearing an activity tracker can really help to show people objective data for what they're doing and then give them some sort of daily goal to shoot for when they're wearing it. Another culprit could be significant changes to your sleep quality or your sleep quantity. This impacts metabolic output and your food consumed. Almost every single day, I have a conversation with someone every single day about having bad sleep. This may be one of the largest pillars of health. And out of all the supplements that you're buying and all the massage tools or the recovery gadgets that you're investing in, all the workout programs that you've bought or purchased, and all the organic food that you're investing in, none of that stuff is going to be optimized. And you might even just be wasting your money if you're not sleeping well. This should be your biggest focus. It really should. Your life will improve in so many facets. We have tons of resources on sleep here at the Livin the Dream Podcast, and I can send you whatever you need. Just let me know. If you struggle with sleep, I can get you the content that can help get you some better quality sleep, create a sleep sanctuary, and really get you one of the biggest pillars locked in before we do all that other supplementary stuff. In all these cases, calories in, calories out is still valid. Even though you may have not noticed or realized it, your energy balance probably did shift in subtle ways. This could be due to your lifestyle, your health status, and yes, it makes it really hard to recognize or be aware of. So the first dilemma of I've been eating the same way forever and suddenly I started gaining weight, hopefully that puts a little light on that dilemma. Dilemma number 2. My hormones are wreaking havoc on my metabolism. I have a hormonal issue and I just can't stop gaining weight. Help. It seems hopeless. Hormones can easily seem like a logical scapegoat for weight changes. And while they're probably not to blame as often as people might think, I just heard an expert talking on a podcast estimating about how often adrenal fatigue or Hashimoto's or thyroid issues, how often these things are misdiagnosed because doctors can't figure out what's going on with this specific person. So they try to just lump them into a category that it seems like they're very similar to these people. So they probably have adrenal fatigue or Hashimoto's or thyroid issues. And so they lump them into these categories that they think may be the issue. And that's a scary thought because that means that there's a lot of people going through life with the excuse saying that I have this thing and it's stopping them from doing their thing. They're using it as an excuse why not to work on their health. Even if they did have it, it's holding them back because of this diagnosis. Well, the fact is hormones are intricately entwined with the energy balance. They are a huge factor. Even if hormones end up being an excuse for most people, hormones do not operate independently of energy balance. So yes, hormones for sure have an impact on people's health. And I believe this big time. The science shows that. No, I'm not saying that people using hormones as an excuse is wrong. It's true. People do gain weight because of their hormones. Their hormones are impacting their energy balance. This is an obvious reality when you look at what happens often during menopause or when people have thyroid hormone levels decline. For example, T3 and T4 are 2 thyroid hormones that are incredibly important for metabolic function. If levels of these hormones diminish, weight gain is probably going to occur. But this doesn't negate calories in, calories out. Your hormones are simply influencing one arm of this equation. They are influencing your energy out. And this may seem a bit like splitting hairs, but it's an important connection to make, whether we're talking about menopause or thyroid problems or insulin resistance or whatever hormonal issue that you might have. Understanding that calories in, calories out is a true detriment of weight loss means that you have to have more tools for achieving the outcome you want. So even if you do, in fact, have this hormonal dysfunction, it's just one factor. It's one tool. And yes, it might be a little more challenging for you than for someone else. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. Suppose you're working from the false premise that hormones are the only thing that matters. This can lead to increasingly unhelpful decisions, such as spending a large sum of money on unnecessary supplements or medicines, and then having to take medications for the side effects of other medication that we know that slippery slope that some people have gone down. Or it could be adhering to an overly restrictive diet that backfires in the long run. You have to go keto or you have to go vegan because of this hormonal deficiency, and now that restrictive diet, it backfires in the long run and you end up putting yourself in the wrong direction towards your goals. But instead, results are dependent on the fact that energy in or energy out has changed. So now this change can be due to hormones for sure. If so, you'll have to adjust something else. You'll have to adjust your eating, your exercise, your lifestyle habits to account for this other factor that is definitely a challenge for you. This can include taking medications prescribed by your doctor, if appropriate, of course. So medications don't always have to be bad or good. They're just another tool. But I see it in the looks on my clients' faces all the time. I ask them what's going on with their goals, what's going on with their health. Well, they got a diagnosis of a hormonal issue, and that's who they are. They are someone that has this thing, and it makes them who they are. And everything that they do in life when it comes to their health goals, it now has this asterisk of, oh yeah, but I have this hormonal issue. And you can see that they've kind of given their power away to this thing. They no longer feel in control. It's like an invisible rope that's tied around their entire body, and it's just holding them back from what they want. And you can see the frustration and almost the give up in their faces, which is it's really hard to see, but it doesn't have to be that way. And just because someone told you that you have this diagnosis or some report showed that you have this certain disease or hormonal issue, does that mean that it has to be forever? I say just don't give your power away. You are way more powerful than you think. Research suggests that people with mild hypothyroidism, which is about 10 to 15% of our population. People with mild or moderate hypothyroidism is about 2 to 3%, which is a little bit worse than mild. So this 18% of our population may experience a metabolic slowdown of about 140 to 360 calories a day. 140 to 360 calories a day. Now that can add up. That can definitely add up. But 140 to 360 calories, slowing down your metabolism only that much, this is something that we can get through. This amount can lead to weight gain for sure. And it's going to make it harder for you to lose weight than the person that doesn't have this metabolic slowdown. But it's not the end of the world. This can be beaten. One caveat, mild hypothyroidism, which is the 10 to 15% of our population, it can be so mild that people don't experience a significant shift in metabolic activity at all, making it a non-issue. So there's even that. So if someone says that you have mild hypothyroidism, you could be in that category as well, where it's a non-issue. What's more, women suffering from polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS, which is about 5 to 10% of females, those going through menopause as well may also experience hormonal changes that disrupt your energy balance. But in the same way, it's something that we can overcome. It's important to understand you or your clients, your health status, as that will provide valuable information about your unique challenges involved and how you should proceed. So just because you do have a hormonal issue, it doesn't mean that you can't stop gaining weight. So dilemma number 2. Dilemma number 3, I'm only eating 1,000 calories a day and I'm still not losing weight. I can't eat any less. 1,000 calories is so little. I'm still not losing weight. So what gives? The conclusion most people jump to is their metabolism is broken. They're broken. And calories in, calories out is broken. But here's the deal. Metabolic damage isn't even a thing. It's not a thing. Your metabolism is not broken, even though it may seem that way. Your metabolism is doing exactly what it is supposed to be doing. Its number one goal is survival, and everything that it does is to keep you alive. The only reason your metabolism is doing what it is doing right now is due to your choices, your actions, your thoughts, and your experiences. It will continue to do what it's doing until it no longer can and it doesn't want to fight that battle anymore. And after that happens, well, you're not going to need to worry about it because you won't be around, and that's for obvious reasons. So your metabolism is not broken. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing to help protect you with whatever your actions, thoughts, choices, all these things that go into influencing it. While an energy balance challenge could be related to a hormonal issue, as we just discussed, when someone's eating 1,000 calories a day but not losing weight, it's usually due to one of two main reasons that follow. No matter how simple they sound, this is what I've seen with all of my clients, and this is exactly what Precision Nutrition has seen repeatedly in their coaching program with more than 100,000 clients. If you're just eating 1,000 calories and you're not losing weight, reason number 1, people often underestimate what they're eating. Yeah, it's easy to miscalculate how much you're eating, and it's usually unintentional. The most typical ways people do this are they underestimate their portions. They think that one portion is this size, huge, and it's actually much, much smaller. For example, without precisely measuring 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, it might be 2, which adds another 90 calories each time you do it. Oftentimes, it's way more than 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. My serving of peanut butter is like 8 tablespoons. So yeah, they don't track their bites either, their licks, their tastes, their sips, their dips. And they don't do it on these calorie-dense foods. For example, if your kids have any leftover mac and cheese, you could easily just clean that off the plate before you clean the dishes, but this could add 100 calories to your total daily calorie intake. And over time, that adds up. People don't record everything in the moment and they forget to log their food later. So there's just a tiny bite here, or they had that bite-sized candy bar that was off the person's desk that they walked by and they forgot to add it to their food log. That adds up. They could also forget to count foods that they wish that they hadn't eaten. So, I had that 4th margarita. I'm not going to put that because I wish that I hadn't done that. Or my kids got Halloween candy and I had my favorites. I just stole all the Snickers, but that doesn't count, right? So I'm just not going to log that. They forget to count foods they wish they'd eaten. A landmark study and repeated follow-up studies have found that people often underestimate how much they eat over the course of the day, sometimes by more than 1,000 calories. That's insane. Over time, can you imagine what that does? Now, I'm not suggesting it's impossible to be realistic about your portion sizes, but if you or your clients aren't seeing results on a low-calorie diet, if you think that you're eating 1,000 calories and you're not losing weight, it's worth considering that underestimation might be the problem. And then the other problem or the other reason would be that people overeat on the weekends. Yes, work weeks, they can be stressful. And when Friday night rolls around, people put their guard down and they let loose. Oh yeah, we do. Friday, let's go. You probably can't relate to that, right? But just try. All right, here's how it goes. Let's say a person is eating 1,500 calories a day on the weekdays, which would give the average person an approximate 500 calorie deficit. If you're eating 1,500 calories on a 2,000 calorie maintenance diet, you're going to be on a 500 calorie deficit. You'll be losing some weight, right? But on the weekends, you're going to deviate from this little plan here. You have drinks with your friends. You had a few slices of late night pizza. You have an extra big lunch after a workout on Saturday because, hey, you deserve it. You worked out hard that day. You have brunch on Sunday because it's Sunday fun day. Hey, it's breakfast and lunch. So I can double eat, right? And the mimosas, they're bottomless. I got to get my money's worth. The final tally, an extra 4,000 calories consumed between Friday night and Sunday afternoon. You've effectively canceled out that weekly deficit of 500 calories a day, and it bumps your average daily calories up to over 2,071. The upshot, though, if you or your client have slashed your calories dramatically, but you aren't seeing the expected results, look for the small slips during the weekend. It's like being a metabolic detective who's following literal breadcrumbs, right? So dilemma number 3, man, I'm eating 1,000 calories and I'm still not losing weight. Check and see if you're underestimating what you're eating or if those weekends are just getting the best of you. It happens way more than it doesn't happen, in my experience at least. Dilemma number 4, I'm eating as much as I want and still losing weight. So this diet has to be better than all the others, and calories in, calories out does not matter. I'm eating as much as I want right now, and I'm still losing weight. So this diet is so much better than all the others. Well, this might be the top reason some people reject calories in, calories out. They say someone switches from a diet of mostly processed foods to one made up of mostly whole plant-based foods. They might find that they can eat as much food as they want. They're full, they feel good, they're satiated, yet the pounds still just melt away. People often believe this is due to the power of plants. And yeah, plants, they are great, but this doesn't disprove the energy balance because plant foods have a very low energy density. They don't have a lot of calories for as much as they are filling. You can eat a lot of them and still be in a calorie deficit, especially if your previous intake was filled with lots of processed, hyperpalatable, indulgent foods. It feels like you're eating much more food than you ever have before, and in fact, you might be, but that's just food volume. That's not calorie density. On top of that, you might also feel as satiated, and it's mostly because the volume and the fiber and the water content of plants is so high. These are all great reasons why you might be eating as much as you want, but you're still losing weight, so it doesn't negate calories in, calories out. You can also take a look at the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet, for example, someone might have, say they eat as much as they want, they're still losing weight, but instead of plant foods, what they're eating is they're eating meat and cheese and eggs. Those aren't low-calorie foods. Those got some calories in them, and they don't have much fiber either, so could that be the trick to tricking calories in, calories out? As a result, plenty of low-carb advocates claim that keto offers a metabolic advantage over other diets. It's a better diet because it has a better metabolic advantage. So keto means that calories in, calories out isn't a thing. Or is it? What's most likely happening is your greater intake of protein during the ketogenic diet, it's going to increase your satiety and it's going to reduce your appetite. Also, it's going to limit your food choices. It cuts out hundreds of highly processed calories that you might have eaten otherwise. It reduces your food options as well, which can lead to sensory-specific satiety. This means that when you eat the same foods all the time, they may become less appealing, so you're not driven to eat as much. That's when you eat like 40 ounces of steak and you just can't eat any more steak, but then they ask you for dessert and you're like, oh, you know what? I think I do have room for that lemon meringue pie. Liquid calories, soda, juice, even milk. Milk, most people that drink milk thinks that it's a magic liquid, but these are generally off limits on the ketogenic diet. So a greater proportion of calories are consumed from your solid foods, which is more filling, and you can't get that liquid calorie just quickly out of your system and ready for more. And then also higher blood levels of ketones, which rise when carbs are restricted, and this seems to suppress the appetite. For all these reasons, people tend to eat fewer calories and feel less hungry. Although it might seem magical, the keto diet results in weight loss by regulating energy in through a variety of ways. And you might ask, if plant-based and keto diets work so well, why should anyone care if it's because of calories in, calories out, or for some other reason? Shouldn't they just do a plant-based diet or a ketogenic diet? It works. Well, depending on the person, depending on the food preferences, the lifestyle, activity level, so many other things, many diets, including the plant-based and keto, they just aren't sustainable long term. This is particularly true of more restrictive approaches. You're not going to stick to it long term. And if you believe that there's only one best diet, you're going to become frustrated if you aren't able to stick to it, or one day it stops working. You may view yourself as a failure and decide that your lack of discipline, it's your fault that you're not losing weight. You may even think that you should just stop trying, none of which are going to help, none of which are true. The best diet is the one that you're going to adhere to long term. And here's the important part: the diet that you enjoy the most, that gets you to your health goals. It's simple to say, right? I just do the diet that I enjoy the most, that gets me to my health goals, that I can stick to. But it's extremely difficult to find, and it's extremely difficult for people to see it and stick to it for long term. Your results aren't diet dependent. Your results are behavior dependent. Maintaining a healthy body, including your healthy body weight, is about developing consistent, sustainable daily habits that help you positively impact energy in and energy out. Your goals can be accomplished while enjoying foods that you love. You can do it by so many ways. Eating until you're 80% full. Eating slowly and mindfully and chewing your food. Eating more minimally processed foods. So eating the whole foods that have one ingredient, that were grown by the earth. Getting high quality sleep. Have I beat this horse till it's dead? Getting more high quality sleep is so important. And then taking steps to reduce stress and build resilience, and taking literal steps. Get your need up. It's about viewing calories in, calories out from this 30,000 foot view and figuring out what approach feels sane and achievable and doable for you. Sure, that might include a plant-based or a ketogenic diet, but it absolutely might not. And you can get great results either way. Lastly, and not as common nowadays, but definitely needs to be touched on, dilemma number 5. Dilemma number 5 is what most people hate. I want to gain weight. I want to gain weight, but no matter how much I eat, I just can't seem to gain any weight. The calories in, calories out conversation doesn't always revolve around weight loss, right? Some people struggle with gaining weight, especially younger athletes or people who are very active at work. Think jobs that involve manual labor. I would say this is the category that I'm personally in, and many of my friends and family and clients, they quite literally despise me every time I bring it up for being in this category, but here we are. It also happens with those who are trying to regain lost weight after, let's say, an illness, a pretty impactful illness in their life. When someone intentionally eats more food but just can't pack on the pounds, it may seem like calories in, calories out is invalidated. But here's what the precision nutrition have found. People tend to remember extremes. Someone might have maybe 6 meals in one day, 6 big meals in one day, eating as much as they felt like they could stand. But then the following day, they only ate maybe 2 meals because they were so full from the day before. Or maybe they were busy, or they didn't even think about it. The first day that they ate all of that food, the one where they stuffed themselves, that would most likely stand out a lot more than the day that they ate in accordance to their hunger levels. That's just human nature. One day is going to be more rememberable than the other. It's easy to see how calories in, calories out is involved here. It's a lack of consistency on the energy in part of the equation. Consistency is the key to so many things, and it's no different in this situation. One solution, instead of stuffing yourself with 3,000 calories in one day and then eating 1,500 the next, aim for a calorie intake just above that middle ground that you can stick with and increase it in small amounts over time. So in between 1,500 and 3,000 calories, maybe you're at like 2,300 calories or something like that. And then if that doesn't work, you can get up to 24, 25. And that way you're not gorging yourself on 3,000 calories one day and getting that next day where it's another calorie deficit day. When some people suddenly have more available energy from eating all of this excess food, they're also more likely to do things that increase their energy out, such as they'll take the stairs because, they have more energy and there's a lot of people waiting for the elevator. So I'm going to just take the stairs over here. Or pacing while you're on the phone, or fidgeting while you're in your seat. Your body has this extra energy, and sometimes it just uses it in different ways. Your body, it wants to maintain homeostasis. That's what it does. So if all of a sudden it has all this energy more than it's used to, it's going to create this feedback loop, or this super compensation that gets you back to your set point. So this person might even push harder during a workout than they would normally. And this could be either both subconscious or subtle, or both. And though it might sound weird, our coaches have identified that it's a legitimate problem for hard gainers. If this is your challenge, take notice of all of your activity. If you can't curtail some of it, you may have to compensate by eating even more food. Yes, nutrient and calorie-dense foods such as nut butters or whole grains or oils, these can all help. Nuts are a huge high source of calories that you can eat lots of, especially if you're challenged by a lack of appetite. So those are the 5 dilemmas that usually come when people don't believe in calories in, calories out. And those were kind of some reasons why calories in, calories out does apply in those situations. So what can we do from here? Let's talk about 3 strategies to game the system. Yeah, 3 strategies to game the system. Once you accept that calories in, calories out is both complex and also inescapable, you may find yourself up against one very common challenge, namely, I can't eat any less than I'm eating right now. This is one of the top reasons people abandon their weight loss efforts and go searching in vain for some miracle diet that's going to get them to their goals. So here are 3 simple strategies you can use to create a calorie deficit, even if it just seems so impossible. It's all about figuring out which one works best for you. Strategy number 1, maximize your protein and your fiber. Consuming high amounts of protein increases your satiety, helping you feel more satisfied between meals. And consuming higher amounts of fiber increases satiation. It helps you feel more satisfied during meals. These are both proven in research and practice to help you feel more satisfied overall while eating fewer calories, which leads to easier fat loss usually. While the advice to eat more protein and more fiber may sound trite, most people trying to lose weight still aren't focused on getting plenty of these 2 nutrients, protein, fiber. And you know what else? It's not their fault. When it comes to diets, almost everyone has been told to subtract, to take away the bad stuff and only eat the good stuff. But there's another approach. Just start by adding. Instead of taking away, start by adding. If you make a concerted effort to increase protein, especially good lean protein, and fiber intake, especially from vegetables, you'll feel more satisfied if you do this. You'll also be less tempted by all the foods you think that you should be avoiding, but you're doing it in a roundabout way. This will automatically help crowd out all the ultra-processed foods that you would have eaten. And this leads to another big benefit. By eating more whole foods and fewer of the processed kind, you're actually retraining your brain to desire those indulgent, ultra-processed foods less. You're training your brain to really not need those ultra-processed foods. That's when a cool thing happens. You start eating fewer calories without actively trying to, rather than purposely restricting because you have to. It's always human nature. If you tell someone that they can't have something, what's the one thing that they want more than anything? They're going to just go off the rails when it means that they can't have any, let's say, chocolate. I can't have any chocolates. And that's all that I'm going to be craving for days and days. And eventually it's going to break me and I will go off the rails. If we do that, that's not going to make weight loss easier. But yes, it's going to take time, and doing it this way by adding things in will make weight loss easier. Starting is simple. For protein, add 1 palm-sized portion of relatively lean protein. So think chicken, fish, tempeh. I love turkey. Add 1 palm size, the size of the palm of your hand, to each, just 1 meal actually. Start with 1 meal a day. This is beyond what you would have done otherwise, right? For fiber, just add one serving, one fist-sized serving of high-fiber foods such as vegetables, fruit, lentils, or beans to your regular intake. Just one serving of fiber and one palm-sized portion of lean meat. For fiber, this might mean having an apple for a snack. You could include a fistful of roasted carrots for dinner, or tossing in a handful of spinach into your daily smoothies. Try this for 2 weeks, and then add another palm of lean protein and one more serving of high fiber foods. Do this for another 2 weeks, and then just continue on until you start seeing the results that you're looking for. Start slow and collect the data. Measure your body, measure your inches with a tape measure your body weight with a scale, get your body fat every month with an in-body scan. Trial and error, and you gotta be patient. People overestimate how hard this is gonna be. It's pretty simple, but they underestimate how much time it's gonna take. You really have to be consistent and you have to be patient. In addition to all the upside we've discussed so far, there's also this: coming to the table with a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. This can help you avoid those anxious, those frustrated feelings that often come with being deprived from the foods that you really, quote unquote, love. So instead of saying, I really don't think I can give up my nightly wine and my chocolate habit, you might say, hey, look at all this delicious, healthy food that I can feed my body right now. You have to shift your mindset. You have to shift your internal dialogue. It is really powerful. Your thoughts create physical structures in your brain. Your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions, your feelings. And by the way, you don't have to give up your wine or chocolate habit, at least not to initiate this process. Maybe down the road, if you've tried a lot of things and it's just not working, maybe it is something that's creating detriment towards your goals. Now, I enjoy a glass of wine maybe 2 or 3 nights a week, and I eat a piece of dark chocolate, 95% dark chocolate from this company called Lindt, Lindt. And I truly look forward to that piece of dark chocolate every single night. It's a nice little treat to end the night. And dark chocolate has so many good benefits. We've talked about that before. So strategy number 1, maximize your protein and fibers. Strategy number 2, shift your perspective. Imagine you're on vacation and you slept in and you missed your breakfast. Of course, you don't really mind this because you're relaxed, you're having a good time, and there's no reason to really panic. Lunch is going to happen. But since you've removed a meal, you end up eating a few hundred calories less than your normal day and effectively creating a deficit. Given that you're in an environment where you feel calm and happy, you hardly even notice that you did miss this meal. Now, on the other side, suppose you wake up on a regular day and you're actively trying to lose weight. You're on this diet and it's something that you're really working hard towards. You might think, oh my gosh, I only get to have my 400 calorie breakfast and it's just not enough food. I'm going to be hungry. This is the worst. I'm just going to be so hungry all day. You head to work feeling stressed, counting down the minutes to your next snack or your next meal, and maybe even you start to feel that you're depriving yourself. You're just miserable. Here's the thing. You are in a calorie deficit both days, but your subjective experience of each situation was completely different. It was your perspective. What if you could adjust your thinking to be more like the first scenario rather than the second, even if you're not on vacation? Now, of course, I'm not arguing that you should skip breakfast every day, unless that's just your preference. Like, I skip breakfast most days. But if you can manage to see eating less as something you happen to be doing rather than something that you must do, it may end up feeling a lot less terrible. So often, our thoughts are our own worst enemy. Unless you really do the work to train your thoughts to work for you. And this is a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast episode. Actually, they have written tons of books on this topic. If you want more on this topic, you have to read the book Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf. Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf. Really good. I listened to it on audiobook. I got a lot from it. So shift your perspective is strategy number 3. And another strategy to game the system, strategy number 3 is to add activity rather than subtracting your calories. Now, notice that I didn't say, I want you to go do a bunch more extra workouts. Well, yes, that could work. You could also just add more NEAT to your day, non-exercise activity. Are you a person who doesn't want to eat less, but you would happily move more? If so, you might want to take advantage of what we call G-flux. G-flux is also known as energy flux. It's the total amount of energy that flows in and out of the system. As an example, say you want to create that 500 calorie deficit. It would look like this. Energy in, 2,000 calories. Energy out, 2,500 calories. Deficit, 500 calories. But it could also look like this. Energy in, 3,000 calories. Energy out, 3,500 calories out. The deficit is still 500 calories. In both scenarios, you've achieved a 500 calorie deficit, but the second scenario allows you to eat a lot more if you can expend a little bit more. That's one benefit of greater G-flux. Now, we've talked about Dr. Jade Teta. Dr. Jade Teta wrote a book called The Next Level Metabolism. Really good book. Highly recommend it. Talks about 4 toggles. And we've discussed those 4 toggles on earlier episodes of this podcast. One of those toggles is eat less, exercise more. It's the well-known toggle. But in this example that we're just talking about, the toggle would be eat more, exercise more. Also, research suggests if you're eating food from high-quality sources and doing a variety of workouts, strength training, cardiovascular conditioning, recovery mobility work, eating more calories can help you carry more lean mass, more muscle, and less fat, because the increased exercise doesn't just serve to boost your energy out, it also changes nutrient partitioning, sending more calories towards muscle growth and fewer calories to your fat cells. If you show your body that you need your precious muscle, then it's going to do what it needs to do to keep it and hold on to it. And this is why I'm not a big fan of long, steady state cardio, like going and running for an hour or going on long bike rides or swimming at a steady state for hours on end. This is one of the fastest ways to tell your body that you don't need to carry heavy muscle tissue. It's a very expensive tissue. So think of what the best marathon runner in the world looks like. They're pretty thin. It's pretty much, you can see their skeletal system just by looking at them. That's why I prefer movement or cardio like rucking with a heavy backpack or a weight vest. I love hill climb work, going up steep hills with a weight vest or doing sled pushing up a hill. You already know all those things are so great to be able to ask the body to hold on to muscle. You could even do, you already know it, resistance training, any kind of resistance training. You could do supersets where you do a couple of exercises back to back. That's a form of cardio because you're getting your heart rate up, but you're asking your body to do it while prioritizing muscle growth. Super important here. Plus, since you're eating more food, you will have more opportunity to get the quantity of vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, and all of those things. The more food you eat, the more opportunity you have to get those to feel your best, as long as you're prioritizing good quality foods. You're not just going on a dirty bulk and you're going to In-N-Out Burger and getting 3 different orders. Like, that's not the same thing as getting more food through good quality whole foods. To be clear, this is somewhat of an advanced method. And because metabolism and energy balance are dynamic in nature, the effectiveness of this method may vary from person to person. Plus, not everybody has the ability or the desire or the time to spend moving more. And that's okay. This is just an option, a strategy. It doesn't have to be yours. By being flexible with your thinking and willing to experiment with different ways of influencing your calories in, your calories out, you can find your own personal strategy for tipping energy balance in your favor. So after hearing all of this arguments for calories in, calories out being the actual equation, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you still think that it's all about the hormones? Or is it all about your genetics? Is this all just a computer simulation run by aliens and whatever we do, it won't matter? I'm open to hearing all of your thoughts. Let me know. I want to know. And that's it, my friends, for this week's Megaphone episode. Each week, we're going to focus on sharing information that will help you on your health, fitness, and wellness journey. Share the knowledge that you gained with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If you enjoyed this content, it helps a ton if you post on your social media stories a screenshot of this episode with just one takeaway that you learned. And make sure you tag me and share your journey. Tag me at Livin the Dream _podcast or at Coach Damien _SD. And let me know and your network know how this episode benefited you. Let's get more people on this lifelong learner train and join the Livin the Dream team. And let me know if you have any suggestions or tips that will help your Livin the Dream team that I can discuss on future episodes. I will be right here with you working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.